Dashing through the air, the hero activates his extreme fury skill, creating a blazing zone of fire. In an instant, Jinchul is blown away into smithereens, vowing that he will wait for the hero in hell. The crowd erupts in excitement and disbelief at the hero's unexpected victory. Suddenly, Daesung receives a notification regarding the existence of the haunts, and he gains new skills: stealth and transformation, along with the ability to use ether aura. As the gate clears, the old Baldy arrives with his Porter clan, humorously named the Rice Cake. This time, he isn't alone. The live streamer has also joined them, and to everyone's surprise, he now boasts 1 million subscribers. He shares his first experience as a porter at the aquatic gate, introducing the Baldy to his viewers. One viewer, genuinely impressed with his videos, sends a donation of 100,000, boosting the excitement in the chat. The scene now shifts to the Fortress Clan's training center, where the Hell Witch has dragged the Demon Lord along to help her eliminate some ghosts. In a playful act of annoyance, he flicks her forehead, which only serves to irritate her further. My guy explains to her that there are no ghosts present, only a magic spell that he is suppressed for the time being. Curious, he then asks how and from where she acquired such a magic seal. The Hell Witch beams with pride as she admits that she has entered an awakening portal. She requests him to keep it a secret, and elaborates that sometimes an awakening portal materializes within a monster gate. Driven by her desire to awaken, she explains that she took the perilous risk of entering a portal she stumbled upon, fully aware of the dangers involved. Daesung ponders whether hell has similar portals of its own. Suddenly, he receives an emergency alert from the Pantheon, indicating that a celestial being has invaded the Ghost King's territory, compelling him to respond immediately. He informs the Hell Witch that their deal has been addressed, and prepares to take his leave. Meanwhile, in a prison cell, a visitor arrives to see Captain Junyoung. As the door swings open, Cho-young stands before him, ready to discuss matters of significance. Cho-young's presence brings a sense of peace to Captain Junyoung, who is relieved to see her in good health. She inquires about Dr. Park and his whereabouts. The captain provides her with the details, suggesting that he may have a method to restore her damaged aura. However, he warns her to remain cautious around him, as he might be connected to Hongma. Back at the Pantheon, as the Demon Lord enters, he receives a notification indicating that his servant has joined him. Curious about who it could be, he turns to find the Hell Witch standing behind him. Taken aback, he asks her how she managed to get in. Seo-yeon eagerly expresses her desire for him to be her master and to train her in magic. The Demon Lord checks the girl's status panel, feeling irritation rising within him, as she might prove to be a hindrance to his plans. It turns out that the one who placed the magic seal on the girl had registered her as a servant, and by overriding that seal, the Demon Lord has now made her his servant. Although he is initially reluctant, he sees no way out and decides to take her with him to the Ghost King's territory. As the teleportation takes effect, he finds himself chained against a wall. The Hell Witch looks around, marveling at the equipment scattered on the table. Daesung calls out to her, requesting her help to break free, explaining that his power is sealed within the chains, rendering him unable to escape. She responds that she will give it a try, and to his surprise, she quickly frees him from the chains. Curious, the Demon Lord asks how she accomplished it. She proudly reveals a key she forged using her magic, demonstrating her skill as if it were a simple task. Our hero peeks through the window and points out a monster to his servant, identifying it as the head jailer known as the Wraith Collector. The Hell Witch requests permission to handle the monster on her own. The scene shifts to a garage, where Cho-young arrives in a car and invites Chanho to join her, offering to take him to Dr. Park's lab. Meanwhile, Dr. Park is engrossed in reading the headlines when he comes across news regarding his minion Jinchul. However, he remains unfazed, knowing he has cultivated more than enough samples to spare. His laptop pings with an alert, notifying him of Cho-young's entry into the building, and he feels a sense of satisfaction at her arrival. It becomes clear that he had been anticipating her visit, even referring to her as his test subject. Returning to our duo in the Ghost King's domain, the Hell Witch releases a barrage of debuffs, utterly disabling the Warden. As it collapses to its knees, our Demon King swiftly puts an end to its life. With their first quest completed, Daesung receives a skill point meant for Seo-yeon. The goth girl boasts about how her skills have improved in hell. Paying no attention, our boy tells her to keep her dolls ready since the danger will only escalate. Surprised that her master already knows all her abilities, she skips along behind him, carefree. They soon arrive at the tomb maze and are given another quest. Standing before the life-draining maze, the ruler of hell claims to have the layout committed to memory, but as a precaution, he asks Seo-yeon for one of her dolls. When she asks about its purpose, he informs her that he'll call her once he's on the other side. Unaware that he's fully prepared to sacrifice her as well, she teases him for being such a considerate guy. Once again ignoring her annoying remarks, my guy prepares to conquer the maze. He charges forward, dashing straight through the wall, triggering the traps and activating the life-draining effect. Aging faster than anticipated, our Demon King presses on regardless, sliding beneath a prison guard's attack like a seasoned pro. Spotting the exit, he sprints to the final stretch. Unaware of the ambush, he is attacked by another prison guard, forcing him to counter, which further drains his life force. Locked in place, he watches as thorny vines shoot towards him. Determined not to die, our hero seemingly vanishes. Meanwhile on Earth, Cho-young and Chan-ho park outside Dr. Dong-hyuk's lab. Chan-ho is surprised by how difficult the lab is to find. Cho-young shares that she's visited it once in the past. The two then find a massive elevator at the entrance. Suddenly the shutter opens, revealing the doctor's creepy assistant, Nam Jae-woo, who greets them. Back in hell, our goth witch, busy playing with magic, suddenly hears her master's voice calling out to her. After hearing for what seems like the millionth time that she needs to teleport, she confirms her mission and teleports. She appears in front of a monster, ready to strike. But Dae-sung quickly tells her to relax and reveals it's him, transformed. Despite her unease, he continues to unlock the stairs, leading underground to the Ghost King's hall. Our demon lord finally receives the quest to defeat the big boss himself. The two quietly sneak into the boss's room, but seeing the monster already transformed, he panics, realizing they might be just a bit too late. Turns out the heavenly corruption has transformed the Ghost King, so our transformed hero explains some complicated reason why his current body cannot kill the boss. Instead, he looks to the Hell Witch's skills, and without hesitation levels up her suicidal instant kill attack. She looks in amazement as a panel shows her ultimate success rate increasing. Though the death penalty is highlighted in bold, like a kid receiving a birthday present, the Hell Witch is overjoyed. Without any concern for her safety, my guy instructs her to use it on the Ghost King. Hearing our boy cheer her on with confidence, Seo-yeon, completely unfazed by the risk of dying, happily agrees and prepares a voodoo doll. The cruel Demon King watches closely, shamelessly hoping she completes his mission for him. Moments after she snatches the doll's life, the Ghost King collapses to the ground with a loud thud. Dae-sung feels a rush of excitement until he notices Seo-yeon unconscious behind him. Still, having fulfilled her role, our hero steps in to finish off the weakened boss himself. Buffing himself with blood neutralization, he predicts the boss's next move and charges confidently to end the life of his former subordinate. But as their swords collide, his weapon is sent flying. To his dismay, his chest is pierced, and his soul is absorbed into the sword of sin. With that, the Ghost King claims victory, mocking his seemingly dead opponent. Meanwhile on Earth, Cho-young apologizes to the doctor's assistant for bringing an uninvited guest. Surprised, the creepy scientist innocently asks who it is. Speeding in on his awesome sports car, the man in question makes his epic entrance. Cho-young introduces Korea's number 5 hunter and Marvel clan leader. Cho Han-yeol humbly expresses his wish to collaborate with Dr. Dong-hyuk, as both share an expertise in aura engineering. Though Jae-woo inwardly curses the man for disrupting his plans, he keeps his composure and introduces himself to the masked S-ranker. However, Han-yeol savagely ignores him and greets Chan-ho and Cho-young instead. Without wasting time, the Seoul clan lady instructs the creepy assistant to take them straight to the doctor. Believing Cho-young brought Han-yeol along as a bodyguard, Jae-woo's desire to mess her up with experiments only intensifies. Leading them to a room in the lab, he instructs them to wait, and leaves. Sensing something off, Chan-ho remarks how the place doesn't feel like a typical lab. Out of caution, the Marvel clan leader advises his group to wear aura protectors. Cho-young explains that Jun-young had suggested she bring Han-yeol for extra security, reminding Chan-ho that he could have just asked the masked aura engineer for help as well. Suddenly gas begins seeping into the room. Han-yeol's alarm bells ring instantly, recognizing it as a trap. He slams his shoulder into the locked doors, breaking them open with sheer force. The three burst out, only to be confronted by an army of mutated orcs. Without hesitation, Han-yeol materializes a violet blade and a flashy aura whip, cutting through the oncoming horde with ease. Worried, Chan-ho and Cho-young ask why monsters are roaming free, but the clan leader recognizes the sinister nature of the trap. Observing from a screen, the creepy assistant sneers, thrilled to test his enhanced experiments on the hunters now marked by gas. Meanwhile, the ruler of hell lives on inside the Sword of Sins. As new souls enter, the ghouls rush in to devour them, unaware that our boy has regained his original body. With a face more terrifying than the monsters, he declares that they will be the ones devoured instead. Outside, the Ghost King approaches his unconscious slave. Just as he raises his sword to strike her down, the sword takes control of him. He looks on in confusion as the weapon begins to speak, before suddenly turning on him, thrusting into the Ghost King exactly as he had apparently defeated Dae-sung. Receiving a taste of his own medicine, the Ghost King is banished into his own sword, marking the end of this mission full of plot twists. Daesung scratches his head, irritated at having to fix every little problem in hell. Suddenly an explosion goes off, revealing his final opponent. Staring directly into his eyes, the weird celestial being possessing the Ghost King asks who he is. Displeased, our Demon King mocks the creature for daring to ask questions after invading his domain. Realizing he stands before the ruler of hell, the light creature launches its attack. Effortlessly evading the attack, our Demon King slices off the celestial being's arm. Watching the torture unfold, the demons eagerly beg their ruler to deliver punishment on their behalf. Hearing him talk to the demons, shocked, the celestial being is unable to comprehend how anyone other than Heaven's Supreme One can communicate with the banished race. Intrigued by the mention of Heaven's Supreme One, our hero's interest peaks. However, their conversation is abruptly cut short, as chains suddenly bind the divine creature, which begins to beg for forgiveness for its failure. But Heaven's apostles, cold and indifferent, show no mercy. The weird soap opera confuses my guy, who questions why the chanting apostles are executing their own kind. But they ignore him. Infuriated, he flies in and slices all three with one swing. So the creature stares in horror at someone killing the apostles with such ease, but a few moments later, it cries in pain as blood spews out of its wound. The system announces the completion of the quest. After shedding tears over being abandoned by the Supreme One, the celestial being shrivels up before Daesung's eyes, eventually transforming into an infant. Stunned, our guy silently watches as the baby then turns into an egg. Unsure of what to do next, he picks up the egg, contemplating whether to crack it open. Just then, a panel appears, revealing that the egg will hatch into a demonic beast worthy of serving our Demon King. Intrigued, he immediately begins the hatching process. The egg is engulfed in flames, and a 1-hour countdown appears. Meanwhile, back in the lab on Earth, Chanho questions why Jae-woo would commit such heinous acts. Receiving no reply, Cho-young asserts that Jae-woo has taken over the lab for his inhumane experiments, and likely keeping Dr. Dong-hyuk hostage. Just as they piece things together, one of the experiment subjects spots them. Staring at the grotesque monstrosity, the other two are horrified. Han-yul quickly realizes it's the result of a human-monster fusion experiment. The creature, with its twisted human head drooling, mutters about wanting Cho-young's head instead of its monstrous one. Seizing the opportunity, Cho-young shoots the abomination to distract it, giving the clan leader the perfect opening. With a swift and powerful attack, he blows away the monster's head. This infuriates the orc guy. When Han-yul tries to attack him again, he pummels him with his giant mace, launching the masked hunter into a wall. Seeing Cho-young fire at him, the orc guy drools at the thought of having her head on his body again. Meanwhile, in the Pantheon, Seo-yeon anxiously keeps watch over Daesung's egg until it finally hatches, revealing a fairy-like creature. The tiny being floats up and asks who its master is. However, Daesung wastes no time and instead presses it for information about its kind, the heavenly beings. To his frustration, the floating pet claims to have no memory of heaven. Annoyed by how useless his prize seems, our Demon King starts reaching for his sword. But Seo-yeon, who has always wanted a pet, pleads with him not to kill it. She quietly urges the little creature to prove its value if it wishes to be spared. Eager to oblige, it summons a celestial store. While Daesung is unimpressed, the Hell Witch puts on the most enthusiastic reaction she can muster. As our bored hero skims through the items displayed on the shelves, a fortune journal grabs his attention. The little creature explains that he can purchase the journal with quest points and gain a glimpse into the future. The system further clarifies that once a week, he can view up to 24 hours ahead. Upon learning this, he quickly hits the buy button. A scroll materializes before him, disclosing information that makes my guy serious all of a sudden. Immediately after, Daesung leaves Hell, telling Seo-yeon to head home. The Hell Witch playfully remarks that he shouldn't abandon his disciple, but he calmly suggests she focus on repairing her doll. As her nagging continues, Daesung turns back with a deadly serious expression, silencing her at once. Back in the lab, although Han-yul seems knocked out, smoke starts puffing from beneath his suit, revealing a cyberpunk-style design. Korea's number 5 hunter stands up in anger, now forced to play his hidden card. He launches himself toward the orc guy, driving his metal fist into the mutant's face, completely distorting it. Before the orc can retaliate, Han-yul's Iron Man-like suit fires an energy blast from his fist, disintegrating the upper half of the creature. Witnessing this, Chanho remembers the rumors about Han-yul being covered head to toe in aura technology. Exhausted, the Marvel clan leader warns them that his ether cores need recharging. Frustrated, Chanho notes they're falling right into Jae-woo's plan, but this outcome wasn't part of the mad scientist's strategy, as Jae-woo had intended to capture them all alive. Pressed for a solution, he unleashes his most dangerous experiment yet. As Han-yul recharges his equipment, a door ominously creaks open. Emerging from the shadows is Jae-woo's prized creation, a goat man. Watching the vile human-beast hybrid wielding a cleaver, Cho-young prepares to fight it, but Hanyul warns her that it's likely an S-rank monster. The masked hunter and the grotesque goat man lock eyes before our cyberpunk hunter begins the battle. Hanyul's fist nearly strikes the creature's face, but the monster effortlessly dodges. Goatman seizes his wrist, making Hanyul realize it's faster than him. With brute force, the monster hurls him away, tearing off his heavily armored wrist with its sheer strength. Chanho watches in disbelief as Cho-young fearlessly charges at the monster, dagger in hand. As expected, the creature vanishes, teleporting behind her and sending her crashing into a wall. Luckily, the Marvel clan leader's aura protector activates just in time to save her. Refusing to go down easily, the S-rank hunter seizes the distraction to charge an energy beam with his remaining hand. Unfortunately, the goatman leaps from wall to wall like a ninja, slicing through his remaining hand before forcefully stomping Korea's number 5 hunter into the ground. This enrages our boy Chanho, who commands the grotesque goatman to halt its assault. Goatman teleports right into Chanho's face, laughing at what it perceives as a weakling trying to act brave. Putting on a strong front, Chanho boasts that he knows someone who would easily slaughter the ugly creature. Unfazed, the goatman brings its cleaver down on him, only to have the blow intercepted by an amorphous shadow. To everyone's astonishment, the figure that emerges from the shadow is our boy Dae-sung. While he jokes with Chanho about whether he's still alive, the goatman attempts to finish off Cho-young. However, our demon lord sends forth another shadow to block the monster's lethal strike. Drawing the goatman's attention, our hero tests out his new stealth skill, rendering himself invisible. The bewildered goat looks around in a panic before unleashing a deafening howl to locate him through sound. Dae-sung finds it impressive how the goat behaves more like a bat. Meanwhile, from his control room, Jae-woo grows frustrated at the sight of such a significant threat to his plans. As a last resort, he presses the large red forbidden button to unleash his chimeras. The lab system announces that it will self-destruct in half an hour after releasing the poisonous chimeras. Reluctantly, Jae-woo abandons his lab, confident that even the strongest hunter will fail against his creations. Upon hearing the announcement, our hunter squad finds themselves surrounded by a horde of mutated human-monster hybrids. Cho-young observes that the lab has turned into a monster factory under the creepy scientist's rule. Out of nowhere, Hanyul explains that the creatures were probably created by injecting humans with awakening ampules. Regardless, seeing their former bodyguard incapacitated, Chanho turns to his friend for assistance. At first, our Demon King thinks about burning everything to the ground, but ultimately decides to transport everyone to the Ghost King's territory. All 3 of his companions stand in awe of his incredible powers. Yet, the ruler of Hell doesn't stop there. He summons his army of ghosts and commands them to annihilate his enemies. The 2 armies collide in a brutal battle. Dae-sung reassures his squad that they are safe before vanishing once more. Meanwhile, in the lab, Jae-woo heads out through an elevator. To his shock, it malfunctions. Shadows creep in from the door, where our hero peeks at him. The mad scientist is left paralyzed, staring at his arch-nemesis standing directly before him. Like a true madman, Jae-woo begins grinning and invites our demon lord to end his life. Grabbing him by the collar, my guy demands to know his motivations behind the mutant experiments. Jae-woo stands dumbfounded, so our hero activates his newly acquired skill, Ghost Eyes, to delve into the madman's mind. Inside, he witnesses the past, where Jae-woo nearly perishes under the gaze of a giant floating eye. A few memories of the Jinchul experiments flash by, revealing a masked bishop apparently granting Jae-woo access to Hans's body after he offers sacrifices. Having seen enough, my guy slams him into the wall, realizing that the mad scientist traded countless innocent lives to extend his own lifespan. Dae-sung decides to punish him personally for the rest of his long existence. With only 1 minute left until the lab implodes, a goat man in a white coat suddenly appears, using a master key to halt the self-destruct sequence. To his surprise, our hero pops up from behind. He is confused to find another goat hybrid, who introduces himself as Dr. Dong-hyuk. A few moments later, our hunter squad gathers to meet the doctor. He expresses his regret and accepts responsibility for everything. The goat doctor also confirms that there is enough evidence to prosecute his mad assistant. Like kids who judge every strange person they see, Chanho whispers that he can't believe that it's the doctor, but Cho-young confirms that his voice matches. However, Hanyul is fascinated that the doctor's mind is intact even after fully fusing with a monster. But the doctor is far more impressed by his cyborg body. The goat doctor recalls Cho-young's aura injury and mentions having an ampule that might completely cure her. But our hero interrupts, asking the question on everyone's mind. What did he do to end up as a goatman? Dong-hyuk's face pales as he reveals that he was the first test subject for monster fusion. He justifies his actions by explaining that he saw it as the only way to confront increasingly formidable monsters. Thus, he and Jae-woo experimented on terminally ill patients. He explains that due to an accident during the experiment, his original body was lost despite the test's success. But Daesung expresses his annoyance at the doctor being completely ignorant about Hans. When Chanho asks who they are, our hero explains that the cult is responsible for the strange gates appearing recently. Meanwhile, Jae-woo awakens to find himself naked and restrained in hell. He begins to panic, shouting for someone to kill him. However, one of the Ghost King's prison guards readies his heated blades, preparing to skin the wretched man alive for eternity. The scene shifts to the Hans's meeting point, where all 4 bishops are engaged in a serious discussion. The Eastern Bishop Elheim informs his comrades of an unexpected incident that has taken place in the East. The other bishops, particularly the Southern bishop named Azar, express a keen interest in hearing more about the situation. Elheim gets straight to the point, revealing that he has lost 2 of the dimension takers he had authorized in Korea. The other bishops begin to debate the possibility of such an occurrence, arguing over the implications and likelihood of something like this happening. The Southern bishop requests that all the others deploy their highest-grade dimension taker to address this unexpected threat. He stands up, expressing his desire to handle the matter personally. Elheim urges him to calm down and questions why he didn't take care of the situation himself. In response, Azar challenges the Eastern bishop, asking if he doubts his capability to manage what he considers a mere awakened individual. In response, the Eastern bishop explains that the individual Azar is referring to is not just an awakened aura user, leaving all his comrades momentarily stunned. Meanwhile, the president of the Hunters Association is meeting with the branch manager. The manager informs him that based on his investigations, a group known as Hans is responsible for all the kidnappings that have been occurring. As the president demands verification of the information, the branch manager responds that they have received this intel from their ace hunter, Daesung. Sensing the immense danger looming ahead, the president instructs the manager to direct Jin Ki-hong to initiate a private investigation. He emphasizes that news like this could lead to chaos if it were to leak to the public. The scene transitions to a correction center, where Junyoung stands, waiting for Choyoung. He observes that she has done her best and suggests that she join him if she wishes to get some tofu. Choyoung expresses a desire for her captain to meet someone. She introduces him to a goat, informing him that this is none other than the doctor, Park he is familiar with. Junyoung feels a sense of confusion as he sees only a goat before him, with no indication of the professor's presence. He taunts the man for having fallen so low as to transform himself into a goat. While sitting in the car, the captain rests his hand on his head. He mocks the goat doctor, expressing that he never imagined engaging in conversation with a goat, and that he feels quite strange about the situation. The scene shifts to a familiar setting, reminiscent of previous events. This time, the serial killer has set his sights on a girl named Mi Jung, intending to obtain her brain. He blocks her path, but before he can take any action, Inspector Jong-woo intervenes. Jong-woo asserts that he has apprehended the individual responsible for all the kidnappings. He instructs the lady to retreat and calls for backup from Captain Jin Ki-hong. Jong-woo prepares to engage in battle, but upon noticing his opponent's relaxed defensive stance, he wonders why the serial killer appears so unfazed. The killer mocks Jong-woo, labeling him a hunter who has stabbed and murdered his own officer. With these words, he successfully ignites Jong-woo's anger. Jong-woo reflects that this killer is connected to Lee Seok-woo, and shouts that he should have been the one to eliminate him with his own hands. In saying this, he unleashes a barrage of attacks at the killer, who dodges them effortlessly. Reminiscent of Iruma-kun, the human boy attending a demon school, possessing just one ultimate dodging skill. In his fury, Jong-woo pours all his strength into his attacks, yet to his astonishment, the serial killer effortlessly catches his blade with his bare hand. He slashes through the neck of the inspector. Despite his determination to survive this day, Jong-woo feels the sharp edge and realizes too late that his neck has been severed, leaving him lifeless. The killer contemplates whether he has made a mistake, recalling that he was instructed not to harm anyone from the association. However, he soon remembers that the one who gave him this advice, named Jae-woo, has gone missing, leading him to feel that he has nothing to worry about now. After killing Jong-woo, he strolls casually, now searching for the girl who managed to escape. The scene shifts to the branch manager who was viewing the last video recorded by Jong-woo. It becomes clear that he captured footage of the serial killer moments before his death. He inquires if Ki-hong has uncovered the true identity of the killer. Ki-hong informs the manager with the details, revealing that the man is named Chong-sik and is classified as a D-rank adventurer. He further adds that Chong-sik, along with Jin Chol and others, has joined a secret organization known as the Haunts. The manager then inquires about Jae-woo. Ki-hong informs him that according to what Chan-ho relayed, the man has died at the research facility. The manager, enraged by this Haunts situation, instructs Ki-hong to update all the S-rankers and deploy them to eliminate this organization. The scene shifts to Daesung's building, where Dong-chul has returned to see Chan-ho once again. He cuts straight to the point, revealing that he is there seeking donations. He explains his intention to create a residence aimed at providing better living conditions for the children under his care. In exchange for the funds, he guarantees his full cooperation in all matters. Dongchul shakes Chanho's hand, wondering if his proposal has been accepted so easily. However, Chanho advises him not to get too excited, explaining that the final decision can only be made after he discusses it with his friend Daesung. The scene transitions to the Hope Orphanage, where Dongchul calls the sister to share all his plans with her. He mentions that he has reached out to Daesung's clan to secure funding. Apparently, he is orchestrating a significant fundraising program. The sister expresses her concern, but he reassures her, stating that if he can take down a single S-rank gate alongside other S-rankers, he is sure to hit the jackpot. While conversing with the sister, he suddenly notices someone approaching the building from outside. Instinctively, he urges the sister to act quickly and get everyone, including herself, into hiding inside the monster shelter. As he senses a grave danger looming and making its way toward him, the urgency in his expressions leaves no room for hesitation, highlighting the seriousness of the situation. As he steps outside, he finds a blonde-haired, muscular guy calmly walking toward him. Dongchul doesn't waste a second. He immediately initiates a high jump attack from above. However, the gym guy effortlessly defends himself, fully aware of Dongchul's status as an S-ranker and prepared for the confrontation. Dongchul feels a surge of anxiety as his attack is easily warded off. He gathers his courage and reminds himself that he needs to push harder and sweat a bit more to prove himself. However, the muscular guy retaliates by attacking Dongchul from a distance, creating a sense of discomfort for him, as he realizes that his opponent is adept at ranged combat. A strange, ominous fog begins to surround the house as the woman approaches the building. As the fog seeps into the house, Seoyeon starts feeling drowsy and eventually passes out. While she lies on the ground helplessly, her voodoo doll suddenly comes to life. The woman punches the access code to the door and enters the house. She materializes a staff in her hand, then declares the house as the altar of the dead. As she goes into the living room, she is shocked to see the ugly-looking doll that's holding a knife. Feeling a bit nervous, she asks what such an ugly-looking doll is there. Like a scene straight out of a Chucky movie, the doll starts licking the knife creepily. In order to get rid of the foul doll, the intruder casts a spell on it, causing it to burn. However, the deranged doll runs straight for her despite being engulfed in scorching flames. The woman puts up a barrier around herself as the doll closes the gap between them. The Daesung toy starts to smash the barrier with its blade and vows to slice the intruder like minced meat. With each knife strike, the shield begins to crack slowly. The intruder falls into a panicked state when she sees the state of the barrier. However, she slips and falls, allowing the cursed doll to stab her endlessly. The devilish toy bathes in her blood and enjoys the screams of the helpless intruder. Her screams can be heard from the outside, but no one is there to save her from her end. Over at the Hunters Association, the branch manager is informed about the fights that are taking place in different parts of the city. The staff members tell him about the fight between Changsik and an unknown challenger taking place at Han River Park. Another report also comes in, saying that Dongchul and another strange challenger are also fighting. This situation causes the branch manager to become very tense, and he wonders if these strange enemies are from Honsei. He then tells the clerk to send their unit to help put Dongchul at the orphanage. Meanwhile, at Han River Park, Changsk's opponent is quite impressed with the capability of Korean hunters. The dark man looks completely fine and unfazed by the battle, but on the other hand, Changsk looks roughed up and worn out. The strange challenger then uses his magnetic storm ability to put an end to their fight. He fires the attack at Korea's top hunter, who panics as his body suddenly starts getting pulled in by the attack. Changsik is completely helpless in this situation and has no idea what to do. However, by some miracle, the ability suddenly stops. Even the dark guy is confused as to why his ability suddenly stopped. Out of nowhere, Heron slides into the scene to assist Changsik. The top hunter looks relieved when he finally sees an ally to help him out. Heron asks him if the dark man is from Hans, but she quickly finds out that Changsik is as clueless as a bird. He also has no idea about the important notice that was sent to S-rank members. A group of men in suits then show up while referring to Changsik as their leader. On the other hand, the enemy is upset that his fight has been interrupted and proceeds to attack everyone in his way. He shoots a heavy shockwave attack from his arms, but Heron quickly puts up her shield of light. The barrier is able to protect them from the attack, but the shockwave is strong enough to plunge fear into the men. Changsik then tells the men to quickly give him his sword. With the blade in his hands, he's ready to put an end to the fight that has dragged on for a while. Seeing that he has used up too much of his power, the dude quickly flees the scene. With the threat no longer in sight, Changsik's fatigue catches up to him. The hunter falls to the ground and passes out, leaving his subordinates in a state of disarray. Heron tells them to quickly get him to the hospital before it's too late.